Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and doing an unboxing. Don't mind these, they just came inside of the box. I'm very excited because this phone is the phone that I've been waiting a very long time for. I'm actually super stoked that I finally have this phone on hand and that I'm actually able to open up and actually use this phone so that I can collaborate or corroborate some of my thoughts and share them with you guys, because I am going to be daily driving this device. I am going to be using this device from now on. This is my daily phone. This is the one that you're looking at. And yes, from the box that you can see, I have actually picked the Phantom Black one because of an error on Samsung's website. I did order the Sky Blue one and it said that it was going to be shipping on the 8th, and unfortunately it didn't. It said that there was a 4 to 6 week delay on it, that I'd be getting it sometime in mid-March, and yeah, that just wasn't going to happen. So I ended up just going with the Phantom Black one because I knew it would be the one that probably shipped the quickest, and my iPhone and pretty much every other device that I have is black anyway. It looks the best with cases, and I figured I would play it safe anyway. I didn't really like the military green one that they have. The cream does look nice, but anyway, black, playing it safe, so that's what I ended up picking for the S23 Ultra. So I did actually end up cutting it open just ahead of time to save some time. But let's go ahead and pop it open. Of course, the box is slim. You're not going to go ahead and get like a power adapter or anything inside of here. Of course, it's 2023, but right there, it looks kind of odd. It's very flat. That's obviously just like a protector, but they give you like a small little tab to pull it up, if you can see that. I don't know how they expect anyone to actually use that. But okay, never mind. This thing just pops right out. There it is. If we can actually pull on that tab. So let's set the phone to the side. Actually, I don't even know why, because there's nothing else in there. Let's set all of that to the side. I guess we'll take the device out there too, and let's see what else is in here. So we're probably just gonna get the charging cable and the SIM eject tool. Yes, SIM eject tool, manual, and the Type-C to C cable, of course, because why else would they give you anything else when you're paying over $1,200 for a device? So let's get a closer look of the S23 Ultra. The phone that I got is the 512 gigabyte version because they're giving free upgrades to everyone else. I probably would have went with this version anyway because it is the one that has 12 gigs of RAM. And you know that Android is notorious for doing, a lot of system app closures and just slow down when you have less system memory. Now, with a phone that is called the Ultra, you would expect the base model to have the most amount of system memory. I think it was the S21 Ultra that shipped with the most amount of RAM. So I'm not entirely sure why they started this trend with the S22 Ultra and now the S23 Ultra. But that being said, it's just what they're doing. Immediately in the hand though, the phone does feel a lot different from the S22 Ultra. Now, it's got a very similar design. Like in person, it looks the same, except I can tell immediately that the camera bump is a lot bigger. I mean, not a lot, but it is definitely bigger. It has these more pronounced kind of camera bumps. These aluminum rings around the edge, and then also the edges, like the side of the phone, is a lot flatter, but it feels better in the hand. It feels more substantial, and it definitely feels more like premium without a case, I would say. Not that the S22 Ultra felt cheap or anything. The S22 Ultra felt like a really nice phone. But it does feel really good. It feels really substantial, but immediately that's really the only thing that I noticed that I would say is different. In Phantom Black, again, it's one of those colors where it's kind of hard to tell a difference unless I had the S22 Ultra on hand, which I don't. I used that as trade-in a long time ago when I got the Fold 4, but they kind of went the Fold route where they did flatten the edges And that's something that I'm personally a fan of, because when they flatten the edges, they also they stopped that massive display curve, which I'm a fan of having the display curve because it kind of makes it a little easier to, reach the edge of the phone, especially on a display that's this big. I believe it's a 6.8 inch display. That being said, having that display curve also makes it really hard to get screen protectors and stuff like that. Now, this phone is still so new that I don't really know how easy it's going to be for tempered glass screen protectors other than like Whitestone Dome, which is what everyone used. But I'm very curious to see how that impacts it, because that was one of the biggest problems that I had with the S22 Ultra is you have to use these like really cheap, flimsy screen protectors, and on a device that's this expensive, that's just one of the biggest problems that I had. But let's go ahead and get this film taken off. Yeah, one thing that I am kind of bummed about is Samsung used to just give you a screen protector right on the device, and I don't know why they stopped doing that, because that would have eliminated so many problems just right out of the gate, because then you don't have to go right to Amazon or right to one of these third-party stores in the mall to find a screen protector. Having the S Pen though, again, is something that I am so happy about, especially when it comes to like screenshots and trying to add any sort of annotation to tweets and whatnot. This is definitely a huge bonus and something that I heavily look forward to using again. This was something that is really nice to have. I'm gonna run through the setup very quickly, and then I guess I'll come back to it. I'm gonna need that sim tool. Obviously, quickly before I do the setup though, I just want to say that one of the biggest selling points of this device is you have that 200 megapixel camera. And that's something that I really do want to do a deep dive with between the iPhone 14 Pro Max using that 48 megapixel camera and this phone's 200 megapixel camera. Because the thing is that I'm no photographer by any means, so I want to compare it, whether it's doing the 48 megapixel RAW and using this phone's 200 megapixel full capacity of that sensor, whether it's nighttime photography or just shooting outside in the daytime. I really want to see and actually shoot the full capability of that sensor and try to find out whether or not you guys, whether it's through a blind test or whether it's just through some sort of analysis, what image you actually prefer, and not in some sort of war or whatnot. I just want to see what images and video and capabilities of these devices you actually prefer, and try to find a creative way to do it in some sort of unbiased way, because there's a lot of videos and stuff on YouTube that you could find, and everyone has some sort of bias and agenda about these phones. But I've taken some amazing photos on the 14 Pro Max, and I've taken some photos that are absolute crap. And I've done the same thing on the Fold 4, I've done the same thing on the Pixels, I've done the same thing on every single phone that I've used. And when it comes to an average consumer like me, I'm sure that that's going to be everybody. We're not all photographers here, so when you hear 200 megapixel, that doesn't mean that everybody who picks up this phone is going to be making, amazing photos and images for their Instagram or Twitter and instantly become a photographer overnight. So I'm just really curious as to see what images can actually come out of this camera. So of course with this phone you have the in-display fingerprint unlock, so I'm going to have to set that up right now, but first I have to do a pin. And so we're there. So we're pretty much all set up now and actually logged in. This is One UI 5.1. This is what it is shipping with. So this is going to be Android 13. And this is the default. I haven't actually synced my device or anything or restored from a backup. So this is a fresh install. This is what you'd be seeing if you just buy the device and this is your first time actually using it. You have your quick panel here for easy multitasking, so you can do split view. And then by default, you have your navigation set up so that you can do click navigation, but I'm gonna change that so that I can do gesture-based navigation because I don't really like that, how that's set up. And then if you swipe down from the top, you have it set up so that you have your quick access panels, your media output, device control, and basically just default One UI right from the get-go. I'm actually a huge fan of One UI because it's actually what really got me introduced to Android over the last year with the S22 Ultra. So this was kind of my gateway into this whole ecosystem over the last little while, and it's what I'm personally really used to. But I know a lot of people are a really big fan of the whole Pixel experience, and I can see that because the Pixel UI is really clean, it's really responsive, but I think Samsung has done a really good job with One UI, and I just think it's a really clean launcher, and there's a lot of customization that you can do just right out of the get-go. But before we end it off, let's just take a closer look at the device. On the bottom, you have your USB-C port, which can do 45 watts of charging, your SIM card slot, your 2 microphones, your speaker, your S Pen slot, which is very convenient. It just snaps into place, and it's Bluetooth so that you can use it as a clicker so that you can snap some photos and stuff like that. On the left side, you don't have absolutely anything. On the top, you have another microphone. On the right side, you have your volume up and down, as well as your power button. And that's pretty much it for the device. On the front, you have a 12 megapixel camera. And when it comes to like display specs, camera specs, I feel like honestly there's no point of really even mentioning anything because I'm sure by now you've watched 1,000 different videos of this device. There's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. There's the 8 Gen 2 inside of here that's made for Galaxy, so it has that extra boost. And it is a really solid phone. But when it comes to the performance and the actual day-to-day usability, I'm gonna have to give this phone a run for its money and actually daily drive it for a little while before I can tell you whether or not it's worth picking up over something like the S22 Ultra if you've been using the S22 Ultra for quite a while, or if you're even coming from something like the S21 Ultra. So thank you all so much for watching this impressions and unboxing video, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below and I'll answer them in a review video that is coming up. Anyways, that's been it. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.